Two, Ferrari wouldn't allow it until a PR person went on there first. And yeah, so that was the issue. So hopefully she can report back to Ferrari and Alex like, hey, these guys are good, legit, whatever, yada yada yada, and then Alex can come on.
Oh wow!
If he even chooses to, or if Ferrari even allows it.
And you got to make sure there's only red and yellow M&Ms in the green room, right?
Of course.
I mean, what I did get out of that interview was that they're going to throw a bunch of burning rubber radio stuff inside his car when he does make it over to NASCAR.
From what I'm gathering, yes.
I did make out that part.
I was
know
shocked.
Enough Italian for that.
I don't know. I mean, to be quite honest, the only other time I've seen someone put our logo on an actual race car for me or for anything I've worked on was back when I worked with Ray Black Jr. back with the RTFC All-Star Racing League. He literally took one of his trucks and put the RTFT on the hood of the truck and ran Race at Chicago with it.
That's cool.
That's cool.
Very cool.
I know, it was like, what? I'm like, what the hell?
So how are we going to do this, Chris?
Well, just like the other interviews, he's got places to be, so we'll just talk about the top of the show. I don't really think that I didn't put down anything too formal, kind of like what they did show. I'll try to, or they did on their show. I'll ask them who they got and talk about who they got and talk about the details of the race.
Yeah, if we don't really have to do the regular questions. We've done that. Yeah.
You could say that we got Alex. He sounded almost committal. Ray answered. He said no. He's otherwise booked.
Damn.
Chris,
if
what
he's not there,
about the
that's
firecracker?
okay.
Is that going to be an issue for you?
No, that's I don't know. So he might just be talking. He might be doing a practice thing that night, or he's just too busy with the event.
He's the organizer, so.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure he's real busy with the event, but none of the big scheduled things were scheduled that night. They were the couple days before it.
Anyway, Landon said no. So what we'll do is I'll do normal intros. Taylor, you and I will start off. We'll talk about what else you got going on and what you've been doing since the last time. And then, Chris, I'll throw it to you to kind of go into the event, and then you talk about the date, the time, the details.
Good deal.
10-4. Sounds good.
And I don't have the new intro ready yet. I just got to procrastinating on it.
No worries.
Hey, Taylor, while we got you here before we start recording, when does that, when you guys got that thing set up so you can go and donate, when does that go live?
Good question. Let me find out. I think we can start donating now, but I gotta double check.
Who else are we waiting on? Anybody?
I don't think so.
So for the rest of you, I don't want to linger really long on the stuff that's gone wrong since the build, which is one of the first topics. There's a lot of info there, but I don't want it to take more than just a few minutes, okay? Because we could go a deep dive into that and it'd go on forever. So let's be cautious about that because we got tons of hardware.
Greg's not here, so we'll be all right. Negative Nancy's not here.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll hit them, and if you got like one comment, drop it in. And just like we did last time, we did a really good job. The okay, what's next count was only like 2.
Yeah, I'll stop. Yeah, I'll just stop and then wait for the next person.
Chris, just to let you know, the links for donations and registration will begin this weekend. Registration begins Saturday. Donations are beginning on Sunday. So we'll have the links posted over the weekend on the Burning Rubber Radio Facebook page and website.
Perfect.
Get Steve cracking on that. Okay, hit record when you're ready, and then I'll hit record. Or no, I'll hit record and you hit record, however you want to do it.
It don't matter, just hit it.
You're listening to the iRacers Lounge podcast.
where we discuss everything iRacing in a casual setting. Enjoy.
Welcome to the iRacers Lounge. I am your host, Mike Ellis. iRacers Lounge is a podcast for the iRacer, where we talk all things iRacing in a casual setting. Joining me are the usual characters, Chris Scales.
Good evening.
David Hall.
Hello.
Tony Gross.
Howdy, gentlemen.
And back again, special guest Taylor Burris.
Good evening.
Hey, Taylor. So yeah, you've been on the show quite a bit in the past. You're co-host over there at the Burning Rubber Radio, which is on the Performance Motorsports Network, where iRacers Lounge is also a part of. We're really proud of that. Tell us what's been going on with you this spring since the last time we talked.
Well, lots been quite going on. Things been going quite well with the Bobby Dale Earnhardt Legacy Esports team that I am officiating with and work with. Bobby's gotten a lot. Actually got finally his iRacing rig up and running to where he can be able to compete, and actually has done quite well since coming on board and racing on the iRacing service. And then, of course, working with Podium, have a lot of great events going on with Podium Esports Network. And then, of course, Burning Rubber Radio, great show that we both also affiliate with on the Performance Motorsports Network. But we issued a challenge with you guys over these past couple of weeks, and I think it's about time we talk a little bit about that.
All right, well, that's why you're here, Chris. Tell us what you went over and talked to those guys too, right?
Yep. I was on their podcast Tuesday, and what started out as a little bit of trash talking between podcasts has turned into a really cool event. Talked about in their podcast, and I've talked about it here a little bit, but it's we're a couple weeks out now, so things are starting to come together. The name of the race is going to be the Project K9 250. We're going to be at Daytona. Kind of think you're a July Daytona race. You know, that kind of feel to it.
Yeah, it's a great event and for a great cause too. The Project K9 Heroes is a phenomenal organization. We've had them on Burning Rubber Radio a couple of weeks ago, and you know what they do to help support, you know, dogs that served in the military or on the police force or rescue squads is phenomenal of how they're able to help take care and kind of been able to find them a new home if available down the road. So it's a great cause. I mean, who doesn't love a dog, and especially a dog with a story such as those who served for the United States?
Yeah, and it's a cause. Like I said, told you guys earlier this week, I had never heard of them before, and now we have a whole team full of supporters, and yeah, what a great cause. And so who you have so far? So we've really only just gotten our invites out, a couple weeks out now, and we've already got a solid maybe from Alex Bergeron. So when I was on there, I heard you guys were going to have Ray, and so I also tried to get Ray because he's been on our podcast more, so I figured it was a little treacherous for him to be on yours, but he said he can't be on ours, or he can't race. He's got – so is he going to be there? Is he telling us he can't race? He's going to be on Team Burning Rubber?
I don't know. We've been trying to work with him to get on there, but I know a couple of people who will be there. Of course, Bobby Dale Earnhardt will be there, Jeffrey Earnhardt as well. And then, of course, the entire cast of Burning Rubber Radio will be on there at the track competing, along with the Legacy Esports drivers who race on the Road to Pro side. So that's our group. We are working on trying to get a couple of more people who would be interested to come on board. So we're going to kind of hold our cards back a little bit and make announcements as the race progresses closer and closer to that June 26th date. And, of course, I know you guys have a great group of guys who are coming to come on board over at Tifosi Racing, as well as your special wild cards.
Yeah, hopefully more to come.
Stay tuned.
Yep, exactly.
If you look at our guest lineup over the last 9 months, that's pretty much who we hit up.
Mike is dangerous on a plate race.
Well, of course. I mean, I've raced against Mike Ellis multiple times at the plate races, and he is phenomenal there. I've had a couple of wins there myself, so I know how to get around Daytona. It is a home track for me, so I know I could put up a good fight there as well.
Yeah, Mike, I told him I was kind of thinking of the guys that they could invite. The guy, their former guests. And I was thinking our former guests, and they've had some big names. They've had like the John Forces and the Elliott Sadlers, and I was thinking about racing them. I was like, well, yeah, Elliott's new on the sim. He's a real race car driver. He's new on the sim. And I was thinking about our guests, and I'm like, man, our guests are so fast. It's like the best of the sim. Let's get these e-racers on here.
Yeah, I'm thinking Brandon Cantell and Mike Conti and all these guys. Keegan Leahy. Yeah, you think
Take your pick, any of the Coke drivers.
Pretty much, you take your pick on any Coke driver you have. We'll try to bring on some of the professionals of the real world on there. It's going to be a great race, I think, with everyone on there. And, it's bragging rights. Who comes out on top amongst the PMN shows?
Well, I think it's going to be just like real life, where I think the esports guys kind of annihilate the other guys. But like you said, it should be fun and a good cause. You guys do have a little bit of magic over there, so you guys have a little bit of a rebel yell, and you made me do it. It felt a little bit traitorous, but so that night in Old Bastards practice, I was fastest in practice, won the practice race, won the pole in the race the night before. And I'm not fastest ever in anything, so apparently it works. So if there's something you want to yell at us to make you faster, you can try that. We don't really have anything. But yeah, I screwed myself in the race. I burned up my tires, sped on pit road, and it was downhill from there. And
well, there's your
race
problem.
With no cautions, but.
See, that's probably the reason why it didn't work out too well for you, is because, one, you're not part of the Burning Rubber Radio Show per se. You are part of the rival that we have, that we enjoy, friendly rivalry we have with you guys over at the iRacers Lounge. So that's probably the reason why it didn't go so well for you with those tires.
Yeah, that good luck turning some bad juju real quick.
But no, I mean, you guys are phenomenal. I mean, I've been a big listener to you guys. When you first started out, years and years ago, I was an avid listener to you guys because you guys always kept us up to date in the world of iRacing. Before even iRacing even came out with their own podcast, you guys were sticking to the grind, getting drivers to come on the show, interviewing them. It's phenomenal what you guys have accomplished in how many years has it been? I would say 6, 7, 8.
We're going 6-ish. I don't even know anymore.
I know. I've lost count.
I know it's episode 232, and we do.
So, I mean, just phenomenal what you guys have accomplished.
We just keep Mike locked in a shed. That's what people don't know. Is that way? That's how we keep the podcast going. He can't not do the podcast if he can't escape. So sometimes, I mean, we let him move. Sometimes the basement, sometimes the shed. But
Yeah.
Well, let's shout out to all those Coke drivers I messaged today. I need you guys to step up, man, and come support the iRacers Lounge and come race for us against these pros and show them what's up.
Well, we're looking forward to it. That's again on June 26, 2020 at 7 p.m. Of course, it is at Daytona International Speedway with the NASCAR iRacing A cars or the Cup cars. And, of course, registration will begin on Saturday. So it is about a $20 donation to compete in this event. It is for donations. It is for a great cause, once again, for the Project K9 Heroes. And if you want to also just donate, everyone, the links will be added on Sunday where you can go find out more information. So you can either go find the information on www.brr.show or our Facebook page at Burning Rubber Radio, or Burning Rubber Radio on Facebook.com.
Yeah, and what a charity, too, for the K9 police dogs. I mean, with all the stuff going against the police right now, these dogs, they don't need their funding cut, so we need to step up and help them out, man.
Agree with you 100%. I mean, they're dogs. Who doesn't love a dog when they see it? I mean,
Greg said, by the way, these dogs don't see color. If you're guilty, you're guilty. They're going to get you.
Pretty much.
You're going to get bit, right?
You're going to get something, no matter what. If you did something wrong, you're in trouble.
All right. Well, Taylor Burris, thanks for coming on and telling us a little bit about this event coming up. I'm excited to run it. We'll see how you guys run. I have never been on the track with Andy, so I'm kind of looking forward to that.
Be careful. That's all I can say.
Okay.
I'm going to warn you. I'm going to warn you ahead of time. Yeah. Be careful.
That's going to be. I think that's going to be our biggest obstacle for the race because, as I said, I think we're going to have a lot of fast guys. It's going to be, hey, you need to watch out for Andy DeLay. He is the OBRL
5 numbers
IPL champion.
Yep, 5 numbers. That's what I like to look at him when I like.
Yeah,
okay, how many more numbers?
Can we have like 3 resets sponsored by Andy DeLay?
We might have to talk about that one. I think you might be gone to something right there, Mike.
Maybe we can auction off the resets to the highest bidder.
Ooh, that
I
does
was-
sound like it.
I mentioned to the team earlier, I thought it would be cool if this might never even be possible, if iRacing could design something in where you could have the tire limits built around donations, where you'd have to buy your favorite driver tires.
Oh my goodness.
Wasn't it our league that we enforced a tire limit when we started it?
It's hard to
Just-
do.
We tried.
You have to. I mean, you have to go back and basically review the replays.
Yeah.
But it would be that would be funny if based on how much you donate, you get to run that many tire sets.
Something I could talk to Wayne about. So our producer Wayne Owens is one of the main ones who is heading the project a little bit. So I have to talk to him about that.
But how long is the race?
The race is 250 miles, so that should
Yeah, one set won't last that.
no,
Oh,
it
no.
will not.
Yeah, and probably a lot to do before this race, but it's a good excuse to have more fundraisers, do more experiments, have some more weird
experiments
races,
and see how we can do. So, but I appreciate you guys for having me come on the show, and look forward to seeing who comes out on top. I'm hoping it's me, to be quite honest, because one, I love racing at Daytona. So, but whoever comes out on top, it all is for a great cause. Period.
That's right.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll be there. Thanks for coming, Taylor.
No problem. Burning rubber, baby.
Burning Rubber Radio. I love that. We need something like that on the iRacers Lounge. All right.
How do you yell anything casually?
I
though?
was gonna say we're too casual.
Right, we're too casual for that. Right. Good job. Good point, Tony. Thank you for bringing
Let's
me
say
back
it
to
in a
reality.
casual fashion.
Oh my god.
Burning Rubber Radio.
Okay, no, that doesn't work.
That makes you slower.
That makes you slow right there. I'm sorry.
You got to think like you're John Forrest when you say it.
You got to go John Force level, or actually better yet, Kenny Wallace level. Because Kenny Wallace was the one who originated that burning rubber baby.
Or his face is beet red because he can't breathe. He said it so loud.
All right, y'all have a good one. Thanks again for having me come on the show.
Okay, thank you. Let's jump right to topics next. I got the first one. As Evan told us last week, they have the All-Star Coke race coming up, and it's been announced that they're going to run the trucks at North Wilkesboro. Boy, this is different.
This is a good idea.
Yeah.
I'm digging this. This put them all out of their comfort zone. I'm sure they all run trucks now and again, but definitely, not to this scale. So something a little different, kind of level the playing field.
Definitely take advantage of the fact that it is a sim and you can do things like this and it not cost everybody more money.
Yeah, heck yeah. Yeah, do more of this stuff. Like I said, play with things. Yeah, for these fun races, mess with stuff a little bit. Just like NASCAR is doing. When you have a chance to play with stuff, do it. You never know, something might work. You might end up sticking with it.
I almost wish it was the 87 Cup car, though, at North Wilkesboro.
Well, stay tuned. It might still happen.
Yeah, but the trucks is okay, and I think part of the reason maybe they did the trucks is because they have all three Ford now, Chevy, Toyota, all the manufacturers are represented. I'm sure NASCAR is keen on that,
But yeah, to help push that, that part of the sim, and with that new addition, just with the last update, really push it to the forefront. Absolutely. And then there's no bickering like we had that one race there a little while ago where the Fords didn't want to race because there was no Ford truck. So any of the guys that are linked to the real teams with real manufacturers and stuff like that just keeps everybody happy. We get to see North Wilkesboro. We get to see the pros go at North Wilkesboro. Everybody wins here.
Right. All right. We're looking forward to watching that. We'll see how Evan does. I wonder if Evan and team can throw it back old school style, maybe do a different kind of... Well, they already are kind of MRN style, don't you think, David?
Oh, definitely. Their races I enjoy, as opposed to most of the cup races. I usually turn the volume down pretty low on the race and have the MRN broadcast. And actually, I've gotten to where I can kind of listen to both at the same time because one will be on a commercial when the other isn't.
All right, let's jump into post-build issues. We just finishing week 13. A lot of stuff came out over the week. David, what do you got?
We got quite a few issues here. We're going to just quick hit them on some of them, and some of them were solved pretty quick even before the first patch, and are going to be handled in the second patch. People are having trouble driving after the beta UI timeout. I have not been able to browse through the browser to see if this has been answered yet or not.
Like if you went to use the beta to start a race that first day and it would time out, then you would never be able to join a race anyway, is the way the bug was. So it's really frustrating for the people that it affected.
Definitely. There's a problem with going full screen with a 32:9 monitor. I guess is that the ultra wides?
Right, ultra wide.
And it looks like some staff responded. I don't know if they. We'll have a look on the thread if you'd like. You can see if they've got it fixed. This one was interesting. Is HDR broken? Because in VR, whites are blinding after the update, and I seem to remember being told not to turn HDR on with VR.
Right, I remember that too. And but some people apparently do have it on, and it makes it gives you a headache because it's so bright.
Yeah, if you run VR, you're not supposed to have the HDR on. And I remember having to tell somebody that either on Discord or in Messenger as well.
Well, also, David, there's the automatic control exposure now for the cameras, and that also is a factor.
Okay.
Well, see, though, it said that that's another thing that shouldn't be an issue if you have HDR disabled, which I'm in a Rift. I have HDR disabled, but I'm not having really an issue with whites. I'm having an issue with stuff being too dark. Like there's some tracks, I'll come out of a corner and I can't see just because I'm in a shadow. And I don't know what's causing that, but it's not this exactly. But it's definitely been since the update.
Sonoma actually gets pretty dark when the cloud covers over there. You going around the carousel, it's not bad, but it's jarring. You're like, whoa. We also had a problem with the X Audio 2 right ear dominating.
It was like louder on the right than the left. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't notice that. I checked it.
Neither did I. Neither did I, but I can tell you, we both have done sound engineering work, and if one ear is louder, it is very uncomfortable. Even if it's just 60/40, it just leaves you feeling sideways. So hopefully they get that worked on. There's a problem with the Audi GT3 not starting in Interlagos.
The car won't just start up. You can't drive it.
And we know about the new damage model. We talked about how much the damage was causing. And in the most recent patch, they pulled it out. Hopefully they got enough data through I guess, what we'll call a big test that it'll come back even better. There were some neat things about it, but it definitely had some problems. And we talked a little bit last time as well about Lucky Dogs getting screwed over with the shorter cautions. Tyler did reply. They are going to do what they're working on the issue right now. I wish there was some way they could basically disable getting black flagged when you didn't actually pass somebody that you're supposed to let by somehow, and but that can be abused the other direction. So I don't know.
Well, the new damage model, I want to point out, I can't remember a time when they released a feature and then they just took it back completely. Normally they patch it. They like, okay, let's fix the feature and move forward. Let's fix it again and move forward. They patch it over and over until it's fixed. In this case, they just completely said, okay, we're pulling it out and we're going back to the old one.
There is the cautions don't count feature that's been disabled and re-enabled quite a few times.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, so there is a precedent, I guess. But I think it's the right thing to do. I mean, because all of us experienced that damage model was unrealistic to quite a degree.
Yeah, when you lose 20 miles an hour from tapping somebody's bumper. That's pretty rough. And I'm not going to dig deeply into the patch notes, but we've already had one patch come out, and they addressed a couple of the issues very quickly, including the damage model. We talked about how the behavior of the LMP class cars had changed. They addressed that. There was another major issue. They took care of a couple of them really quick. It was really nice, and they have another one coming out on June 17th. So get your Why Is iRacing Down post ready to throw up on the forums.
Look at that video on that Facebook link and tell me what you think. So for our audio listeners, somebody called Beer in Hand Racing put up a video on Facebook of, I think it's the 87 Cup car at Talladega, got into a wreck, and it doesn't ever stop wrecking, and the car is spinning up into the air, and gravity doesn't seem to be in play anymore. And it's kind of all over the place. It's crazy. It's the craziest video I've ever seen.
Yeah, I did skip over that. That's interesting. I remember seeing a video earlier where a stock car was driving on Nuremberg, and Nuremberg basically just swallowed its nose clip.
That one was cool. Yep.
So anytime we're talking about the ladies, we always go to our resident ladies man. And Chris has some information about a lady looking for a team.
Right. Yeah, we have a forum post from Sarah Rabb looking for an all-female team. Said her name's Sarah. She was wanting to find some drivers to start a team / Discord community for other female drivers within the community. I'm already doing some Le Mans 24 hours, but would love to look to do something with future events and have a general and safe community for other female drivers. Also to clarify that it would be an all-inclusive group for those who may identify as female. Feel free to let me know if you would be interested, or even feel free to DM me on Discord at Zesty with... I feel like Greg must know this woman with Zesty with a lot of I's and her Sarah with a couple of A's. But it might be hard to...
It's too bad Greg's married. Otherwise, we should fix him up.
I know, right? But yeah, that's a lot of I's. But yeah, probably just Sarah Rabb, RAAB on iRacing would probably be the best way to get a hold of her. This is a really cool thing. I know my wife's just started iRacing. Tony's wife's just started iRacing, and man, we're both having a blast with it. I mean, they're having their race tomorrow night, but it's cool to see that there's other girls out there getting on. Hopefully there's more of this, because like I said, she's having a blast, and as long as she's having fun, that means it's more time we can spend together doing something we both enjoying, and everybody wins.
Somebody made a crack in my race today about there's no way I have a girlfriend with as much as I race. And it really comes along the lines of there's no way I'm willing to have a girlfriend unless she iRaces.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, those who game together stay together.
Didn't we cover a iRacing dating service at one point?
Yeah. I think you were going to make me cover it, but somehow I got out of it.
Well, maybe. I mean, I don't think we could have done it before, but yeah, if we start getting a little bit more of a female population in the community, maybe it could happen.
When the ranks grow like they have been, I think we're naturally going to get more ladies in. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't appear that any females have responded to this forum post. There are a few males have saying good luck, and that kind of thing. But get out there, ladies, and hook up together and work as a team. Teams are awesome.
Well, this she's excuse me, looks to be roadside, so maybe hook up with Snail Racer. I know they're she's always looking for new people to race with, and that might be a good name right there to help fill those ranks.
And they already have several other girls that are in the community on their Discord participating in the community races, and we're also going to talk about another thing that they have going on a little bit later
with Annie.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next up I got is a good source for understanding setups, Gen X. I think we've covered this before, but it's a good time to bring it back up with all the new people. They have a website, genxracing.com. And when you go there, they got all kinds of stuff, including setup matrix for your, if you're too tight or loose, it tells you kind of what to do. The Commodore's Garage, which is a series of articles and information about how to tighten up a car or do springs or shocks and that kind of thing. They have setups available, and that's something all kinds of people are looking for. Now, I don't get involved in the setups. Do we involve Gen X setups at all in our process?
Generally, what we do is we go grab every setup that's out there and see which ones do best on a long run and which ones just feel right. I've gotten to know the car well enough. I can just know how it needs to feel, to whether it's close or not, and then we pull up the telemetry and make it better. You know, because and even within our own team, like Tony Rochette has to make an adjustment to the setup as I set it, because because of the way my wheel works. I probably needed a little bit looser. When I had a different wheel, I know I needed it a little bit tighter. So we try to set up some adjustability in it and play with it. And actually, last time at Michigan, none of them worked any better than the set we had built on our own. As soon as the patch came out, we just pulled a base set from an old set and made it work. But yeah, we tried the Gen X sets. Sometimes that's the one that ends up being the best base. Sometimes it's Tanner's. Sometimes it's one of our old sets from a previous week.
Yep, and they literally have a link to a Dropbox where you can get open sets for every Cup track. So if you're out there looking for something to use, check them out.
Well, if you need a little bit more customizing, but you don't want to deal with setups, Raja Karuth put a post out on Twitter asking about an avatar, because now that we've got the open face helmets in the 87 cars, you can see a whole lot of face when you take your screenshots, or you're just looking around and stuff. So why not customize them up a little bit? Popped out the question, and iRacing quickly got back to him and said, well, that feature has actually been in the works since last year, and they're targeting September build for this release. And you're not gonna, it's not gonna be like a console video game where you can, raise and lower the cheekbones. But they'll have a number of body types and skin tones you can choose from, and kind of give a little bit of a customizing aspect to your racing dude inside your car.
Well, iRacing actually was one of the first services out there to have microtransactions. Maybe you can buy different driver suits.
I hope they do a female version of that, as we were just talking about. Don't forget that.
That would be a serious oversight if they didn't.
And mustaches. They must have mustaches.
The handlebar. I want my guy to look like Dale Earnhardt, and can we paint the face somehow and make it look like somebody? That would be cool.
They take little pictures off your computer and just put wherever you want on it. Look at a little bobblehead of yourself floating around the car.
Right, can I just cut out my circle of my face and upload it to Trading Paints?
They could never do it because every one of them ended up being a butt. It'd just be a bunch of 30 butts on the track. Faces.
Well, that would actually violate the sporting code. No nudity on the car.
Yeah, but if they had mustaches, that would be okay.
Yeah, actually, yes.
Well, then you got
that would be an indication
beard.
that you're probably in the need of a Brazilian. Boy, we've gone downhill today.
What mustaches?
So iRacing's been having a really successful year, and we've got an article here called from kickingthetires.net. It says they've seen between the 5 to 7.5 thousand new memberships each month since March. They've been on the racing service, and they've gained it since March they've gained roughly 60,000 new members. And it's not just been pro drivers. New race fans have come in, team engineers. I mean, we were just talking about Elliott Sadler and he's basically has a new team that's competing pretty aggressively and pretty successfully on NIS, and I'm enjoying that, seeing them out there and getting to race with them. And it's just a continued thing of iRacing struck gold through the tragedy of the coronavirus situation. And I'm sorry to laugh, but it's ironic.
Yeah. Yeah, another good article about that. I mean, we see these pretty often, and this was a good one, I thought. It was very supportive. It wasn't negative. Some of these go the other way with it, but this really kind of lifted up all the good parts, I thought.
Well, as with everything, I mean, you'll hear us criticize certain things, but I mean, it's the iRacers Lounge podcast. We're fans.
Now, one thing that I thought was noteworthy was there was a part here that says some of the most impactful changes may have come from Mike Joy's feedback. During the first Pro Invitational, the broadcaster found it difficult to tell whose car they were riding in the cockpit view. iRacing came up with this novel solution at Mike Joy's suggestion and added the car number and last name to the dashboard in the cockpit. So that's where that came from. Like, apparently not just Fox Broadcasting, but Mike Joy.
That was, it's small. It's such a small little addition, but man, does it ever change things. Because, not only for the Pro Invitational, but now, the guys in the Coca-Cola series, and there's just no question anymore. It's, you know exactly who it is, because I know we've had that discussion plenty of times, like, let's put some faces to it, and this just makes it that much easier. I mean, it works so well with Pro Invitational now. It just makes it that much quicker, easier for the viewer to know who we're following and see all that. And as a side note to that, you can also do a little bit of customizing inside that little box. I was able to put my little, what do you like to call it, a sloth or a beaver or whatever you. It's actually a fish logo and
Angry Beaver.
And I'm able to stick that in between the number and the last name. And so when I stream and stuff, it's there, bam, it's it's cool.
This last paragraph in the summary is really interesting as well. Adding the tire limits is basically setting them up to be able to start to add wet and intermediate tires, as well as the different tire hardness compounds that Formula One runs.
Wow. That's pretty cool. The thing about Mike Joy I was thinking is, here's this guy, consummate professional broadcaster, veteran, and he's probably thinking, well, why isn't there a name, on the dash? Why don't you guys do this? And that's probably the way it came across, but who knows? But it makes sense.
You might say he's a legendary broadcaster, Tony.
Yeah. Let's dive into some more legend talk. This is a little bit old, but it was with the new series with those 87 cars. There's a question and a poll put up on the forums. Why aren't we running the 87 rules? Excuse me, like no green white checker, no lucky dogs, double file restarts. The lap cars on the inside lanes. Well, for the most part, a lot of that is actually happening. Tyler Hudson posted up a couple days later and just kind of confirmed that, it is set up for double file restarts. Lappers will be on the inside. They'll take away the green-white checker. But they are keeping the lucky dog because there's no racing back to the line. That is another thing that everybody is asking for is, no pit road speed limit. Doesn't seem like they can do it right at this time or not willing to do it for whatever reason. Probably because it would just be absolute hell on pit road if everybody's ripping down there at 200 mile an hour. Would be my guess.
Was it really that late that they were still running free on pit roads?
Apparently.
Yeah, I think it was. Now, I want to stop on the caution thing. I've been running the Legend series this week, and the way the caution works is the pace car picks up the field, and the next time it hits the start finish, it's 1 to go. There is never, ever a 2 to go. That's how it works. So the pit's open as you take the 1 to go. So you can't get much damage done. And if you get tires, you're barely getting out before it goes green, to the back of the field. Now, it's a 25-lap race at Daytona, and normally you can't have cautions at a 25-lap race because it all ends up being under caution. But because the way they changed the cautions, it's actually not bad because we get back to green pretty darn quick, and it's been a nice, refreshing change. Now, I ran a sprint pavement car race as well in official on Tuesday night, and they had the old style, regular NASCAR cautions that we're used to. And I was like, wow, man, these cautions are taking forever because I was used to the Legends. And I told those guys, man, we need those NASCAR Legend cautions as they're doing them with the always come to the 1 to go in the sprint car series. And we probably need them in all of these smaller oval series because it just makes it a more enjoyable event, I think.
Well, other than the problems with getting everybody lined up, it was nicer at Michigan to only have the 2 laps. As long as we can figure out a workaround, or they can figure out a workaround for the people being able to get lined up and the lucky dog being able to still pit.
Right. If we can get that straightened out, I think they're onto something. But my ask of iRacing is, look, can we get these 1 to go caution things at some of these other small oval series like the sprint cars? It would be perfect for them. Perfect.
Yeah, I think it would probably only work for those, right? You'd have to have the smaller fields because I think wouldn't you have to stick with the single file restart probably to make it work right, because that way you don't have to get lined up side by side, which is probably what takes a chunk of time.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, we just haven't done it enough to know.
It depends on if you're doing double file for the leaders or old school double file, which is lappers on the inside.
Anyway, a really good thing they've done with the cautions, I really like that. It's not letting people get damaged, so if you get wrecked in one of these races, you're pretty much wrecked.
Yeah, I really like that, and that's something I think I'd like in, like you said, some of the other races. If you hurry up, then you don't get the same guy that does he does three minutes of damage to his car, and then the caution's so long that he can get the whole damn thing fixed and then come back out and cause another wreck.
Yeah, in the ARCA series, the K&N, those kind of things, this is a no-brainer.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, next up, this is a great movie somebody put out on YouTube named Ashley Blake Hood, Blake-Hood, has a YouTube channel and put up an iRacing movie, and she named it Days of Chunder. And you play it, and it's that classic Days of Thunder where the guy's saying, "You can drive through the smoke, Cole, stay in it," kind of thing. And it cuts back and forth from the movie to some iRacing footage of the guy in the 87 car at Daytona trying to get through the smoke, and just holds that throttle down and somehow makes it. But what a tribute to the Days of Thunder and the 87 Cup car, kind of in the spirit of the videos that iRacing was putting out last week about it.
Yeah, this one's certainly not quite as polished as what iRacing's been putting out, but definitely in the same spirit. It was a lot of fun to watch that one. They did a pretty good job with the cuts and just getting the spirit of the movie in there with the iRacing stuff. That was cool.
Now, how many times have you guys tried that where, you know what, they're all piled up in front of me, I'm not going to miss it no matter what, I'm just going to hold down the gas and hope they clear by the time I get there?
I've never really gone in a bonsai mode, but when you're in a pack, or whether it's 1.5 miles or a plate track, you don't just have to kind of worry about what's in front of you. Because as soon as you react, the person in front of you or behind you, if they don't see it at the exact same moment and you stomp on the brakes, you're just going to get slammed into. And it's not their fault either. it's kind of just an accident. So you're always kind of having to balance how much can I slow down and how much can I just evade and get through it.
Well, I don't know about all that, but I know I've hit that moment plenty of times. I was like, you see that little gap, and you're just like, well, it's all or nothing. I'm rolling the dice. The hell with it. I'm putting my foot down and heading for that hole and hope it don't close. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it don't work at all.
It does
But
work.
yeah, I mean, there are times I've had to accelerate to make sure if you see a car start coming back down the track that you have to gun it so that
Just
he
to
won't
miss
hit
it,
you.
right? I had that just last night in the Legends race. I got a third. I had damage. I was behind the main pack. They come into the checker. They wreck in 3 and 4, a huge pileup, and I did just that. I held down the throttle and hoped it cleared by I got through there, and I kind of weaved through there. I had to get to the gas, but I was able to drive through that mess and finish the race and get a nice finish.
Well, that's just it. Sometimes you just got to close your eyes, pray to the racing gods, and hope for the best.
I feel like the tire smoke is a little bit thicker in those cars. It might be in my imagination. That's where they make darker clouds to have to drive through. But next we have a tweet from Kevin Swindell. This is a pretty cool idea. He kind of put some feelers out there on Twitter on whether anyone would be interested in a subscription service where you would get a direct line to him for racing advice. And apparently there was some interest because this exists now. For $99 a month, you'll have access to a Discord server with direct line to him as well as a chat with fellow subscribers. And so it looks like he's still in the process of getting, well, this is a little bit older. He might be up and running now. But yeah, kind of a neat thing. I like this idea. I mean, why not?
And if you look at it, it's actually talking about GoPro footage. So I think he's actually talking real setup cars, not just sim setups.
We got to remember who Kevin Swindell is, and he knows a lot about dirt racing. And $99 a month. I mean, think about your VRS subscription. What if it was $99 a month? Wow.
I better be getting a lesson every week from Kroenke on getting around those road courses.
That's the thing. Like, how much could you cram into that a month? Because they teach me everything.
Well, I was thinking about this, and okay, so let's say he gets, 10, 12, 15 guys sign up, $100 a month. And for a month, he's got these people like contacting him at all hours of the day and night, and he's answering all these questions, and he's probably in all these sessions, and I wonder how much time he actually has to spend on it. Probably a lot. But it's an interesting business model, and if you want to learn dirt, boy, there's nobody better to learn it from.
You would think he'd be busy because didn't he have a sim rig company or a big part of one? I want to say, I don't know. I know he's in a lot of stuff, like in real life and sim.
Right.
Do you think he's so busy he has to spend 24 hours a day on it?
I don't know. I just imagine, somebody overzealous with it. Oh, for $100 I get full access, right? And they don't let him go.
Well, I was trying to make a silly transition because if you look on the script, the next thing is actually the 2020 iRacing 24-hour Le Mans. It's coming up here in a couple of weekends. It'll be the 20th and the 21st, I believe. It's going to be the usual time slots of 1 GMT and 13 GMT. That's 9 p.m. Eastern Friday night and 9 a.m. Eastern Saturday morning. It's on the 24-hour Le Mans. You got to have at least a license, a D license 4.0 road. The sim itself is actually going to start at 1:14 sim standard time. I learned watching a global sim racing channel. They like to say that. Splits are by iRating. Qualifying is attached. So it's pretty much the standard 24-hour event now that we've seen in most cases. It will have a 20-minute warm-up, 25 minutes with 4 laps for qualifying. It doesn't say whether it's best lap or average. So I'm assuming it's best lap.
Probably.
That's different, though. I don't remember that being that way last year. You got to have at least 2 drivers, and you got to get the fair share. Stop and go every 100 incidents, and that might actually just be a drive-through now. And if you get 100 incidents at Le Mans, you're really doing it wrong. That's almost too high.
So how we doing with our team and our planning for this?
Right now, we got basically me and Greg wanting to run the LMP, and a former teammate is going to join us. And I think that's all we've got at the moment.
Yeah.
Our Elite West guys are all wanting to run the HPD, and I was down with that. But Greg really wanted to run the LMP, and I'm better in the LMP than I'm in the HPD, so I'm good with that. After my finish in that majors race last week, did we? That was the weekend before, wasn't it? Or was that was last Sunday, wasn't it?
And we just have
Yeah,
less.
I haven't talked about that yet.
Yeah, we have less road guys than we used to as well this year. I think. I know Mark's a road guy, but he's not available. So
he also doesn't like the LMP. It doesn't suit his. He has a play seat, and he can't left foot brake. The spike is in the way. The cars are the standard Le Mans Series cars. There has been some balance of power adjustments. They basically took the Nerf bat and smashed the Ferrari with a 20-kilogram penalty, and they also hit the BMW and the Porsche with 10 and 15 respectively.
And the Ford done. Maybe the Ford's the car to be in then.
Well, when they base that decision for a special event, they're not just taking in the cars, as you go from track to track. They're taking in the cars at that specific event.
Looking at the lap times and stuff.
Yeah, and somebody was there. I think it was there in week 12 of the Le Mans Series last season. So they had plenty of data to pull off of that. So I have the next topic as well, which is Snell Racing is launching a Race to Learn series, and they're teaming up with Lionheart, which is their broadcasting team. And this is basically Ann and Larry have continued to have community races, and then they had this one really big one together that had a lot of people, and it was multi-class, and a lot of people were really excited for it. And then we had some drama because you had super experienced members racing with guys who've never been on a multi-track race before, and so lap 1 was basically like an IMSA race. A lot of collisions at the very beginning, and so they decided they wanted to kind of focus on the education side of things and have a series, a league that's built for learners that are very early to the sim, and I'm going to be an instructor, particularly when it comes to multi-class racing. On that, I'm going to step in and give them a little bit of help on explaining how to be the slow car and how to be the fast car, because both cars have responsibilities every time they have an interaction.
And Larry's pretty good at road racing too, right?
Yeah, he did. I've not gotten to be on track with him very much, because whenever they have an event, one of them is on kid duty, so that the other one can race.
Yeah, I saw a video with him in the car instead of her, and it was different. But yeah,
we did a short community race at the or this Sunday or Saturday, and it was, I don't remember the track. It was Road America, and the top class car was the Mercedes GT3. Annie ran that, and it was pretty interesting because I got behind her and another guy. Something happened that caused me to have to go off track and basically let the whole field go by, and I got all the way back up to second place. And it was funny, when I got close to her, she got really irritated because she doesn't like to be pressured.
Put the pressure on. They make mistakes. That's part of it.
Yeah, the other guy that was right there with us, because there was a while it was a 3-car race, he dive bombed both of us and overshot the turn 6, which is the hard left-hander, I think. And then I just had to set Annie up to pass her after the kink. It was pretty fun though.
transition. I'm sorry. So we have numbers, 2020 season 2 numbers to be exact, and some that kind of surprised me and some that didn't. I thought, we'll start with the road first. Participation was up over last year, big, but I don't know. I kind of thought it'd be bigger, like double, triple, or something crazy. I looked there. It looks like they're around, I don't know, near 70,000 this time last year, and Roadside was pushing 100,000 participating members this year.
It was closer to 60,000. So it was about a 40% jump.
Well, from season 1 to season 2, yeah, it almost doubled. But comparing it to season 1 of last year,
I see,
right?
yeah.
Season
1 of last year was around 40,000.
It was actually season 2 was the big year, the big one last year. It's interesting how different times of year has different participation levels.
I bet that spike is probably just all the racing starting up. Would be my guess. That probably gets people fired up to come race on the sim.
It's right around March. Yeah.
Yep.
Right around February and March.
Well, when you get into like season 3 and season 4, you got summertime, you got vacations, you got outside stuff happening. So, to see a drop season 3, even season 4, I guess you're just kind of winding down from summer. That kind of all makes sense.
But so the number that did surprise me, one I thought was kind of the craziest, and this is echoed even more so on the oval side, but is the number of iRacers in the 1,000 to 2,000 range is most of the guys on the sim. It's like, I think 75, probably 70% here maybe, and 75 on the oval side are in that 1 to 2,000 range.
That's where you kind of start and never get out of if you don't apply yourself,
Yep, that's what we talk about. It's so hard to get out of bottom split. Like, that's bottom split up to about 2,000. Like, you're just racing against such a huge pool of guys. You never know what a guy is going to do in front of you, behind you. Is always getting caught up in something. It's hard to get out of there.
Yeah,
I remember being there because now, I'm seeing the same faces almost every race.
I think the big thing, like you said, is participation is the big thing that jumps out in these stats. By Rob Crouch from Australia. Thank you, Rob. He does great on these stats. Yeah, we always talk about his stuff. But, it's just the amount of drivers in this spring of 2020 is just amazing how much our ranks have grown. It's really shown right here.
Yeah, and look at the license frequency graph. You can see all the rookies. That's that big red scary bar.
33% is all rookie.
It could just fall over and squish us all.
The national or region club average iRating is kind of funny. It must not be very good to be Celtic.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I didn't know there was a Celtic region. Why wouldn't that just be under UK? Does Scottish get their own region, I guess?
They're independent. All right, let's keep going. I got Ty Majeski diecast 1x24. Nice Motorsports Shop.com is selling it on pre-order, $45. And it's got the iRacing colors, guys. Full sponsorship on the truck. Chevy Silverado. Man, it looks sharp. And I am tempted to get this for my office.
I'm surprised you already don't have your order in, Mike. I mean, the price is certainly right, and it's a nice looking truck.
Yeah,
that's your boy, man. You got to get that thing.
Yeah, I was almost thinking, why isn't it Chase? Because Chase won, but they did Ty Majeski.
You have to have that one too. That one will be next.
I really kind of holding out for a Cup car with the full iRacing sponsorship that's won a race. Steve Myers.
Well, with that, I think I'm going to go with how Chris does this and just yell out transition. And we had, I'm not sure if controversy is quite the right word, but some people got kind of hot here over VRS, and they're claiming that they're breaking their own terms of agreement with their new add-on packs. And I think it was more of a little bit of a miscommunication more than anything else, from what I could understand. But apparently they have these new add-on packs that are for the less popular series, and they're just hoping to, kind of make it worth their while to produce these things, because it takes time and a lot of effort, and a lot of these guys are very busy doing other things. So, but for people that have paid a full year, and that is supposed to give them access to absolutely everything, now there's a paywall for some of this other stuff, and it like I said, it's not much. It's the less popular stuff, but according to their terms of service, they're supposed to announce that kind of thing, and they did announce it, but unfortunately they didn't do it before they made the actual change. So they did respond with that, and I guess that's what it is. I don't have a dog in this fight. I don't subscribe to VRS, so I really
I don't either.
know.
I do. It's bad form to advertise all over your website unlimited access to all data packs and then not give unlimited access to all data packs. I understand their justification for it, but fix your advertisement. If fix what your website says. If you're going to say this package gets you unlimited and then you don't get it, it's really bad form.
Well, I guess what better form would be is, for them to announce it, beforehand. But, similar to what iRacing does is like, okay, for those of you that have paid, your year subscription, you're fine until until you decide to renew. And then going forward, you're going to have to, pay extra for this other stuff.
Yeah, it comes down to your website and what you're charging don't match.
Okay.
So
yeah, a lot of people on that thread. There are 13 pages. Some people saying, "Oh yeah, you're going to get legal action." Other people were like, "I'm going to unsubscribe," and other people don't care. So there's the whole gamut of emotions on this thing.
Well, I rent, I don't buy, and I sign a lease once a year, and they can only increase the rent each time you re-sign a new lease. They can't come in the middle of the year and say, well, oh no, because of coronavirus, we need to hike your rent $100 or whatever.
Yeah. So anyway, if you're involved in VRS, you might want to check out that thread and see what's going on. There are representatives from VRS in the thread. The guy who's in charge of it is named Peter Dimoff, and from California.
So on a more positive note, we've talked about these guys a few times now recently. Carolina SimWorks LLC is now on a car, and it was at Martinsville. They're sponsoring Joey Gase with Rick Ware Racing.
Nice looking car. I like the big old logo. I mean, this guy, we talked about him just last week. Wasn't he the guy who did the Hickory Motor Speedway billboard right before iRacing scanned it?
Yeah, and I never got a reply from them. I guess I was too late.
But now he's sponsoring up a Busch car here, and a Xfinity car, and cool. Good for him. I hope it gets him some business.
I wonder how many firecrackers he can buy with that new business.
Lots.
Probably 400.
I was too slow to get that, Tony. Thank you. Yeah, Landon Castle and Parker Klingerman are putting on a race to kind of follow up to Landon's qualifying challenge and to promote the old Firecracker 400 we used to love so much. The Firecracker 400 will utilize a recently released 1987 NASCAR Chevrolet Monte Carlo and 1987 NASCAR Ford Thunderbird. The race itself will take place at the pre-repaved 2007 Legacy Daytona International Speedway. The Firecracker 400 is open for registration, the link for which can be found here on our podcast script or on Parker or Landon's Twitter pages. It's $25 to enter with a $10,000 purse.
Wow, $10,000.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. They're going to have a few qualifying races first, and then the very fastest will go to the main event, Firecracker 400, and I think they'll have a couple other smaller events to go along with it as well.
Now, Landon Castle, he wasn't kidding when he said he's going to turn into a promoter here. This is a pretty big event, big purse.
Yeah, this is really cool, and he's put together a nice. Let's see if I can get the website pull up. He's put together a nice like esports page for all these events. I think it's called eRacer, ERCR. If I can't get to pull up.
Yeah, he's got an account, Twitter account or something set up for it. I saw that.
Yeah, so yeah, really neat. And so yeah, I did end up entering. I figure, yeah, with any luck, maybe we could at least get the lounge paint into the main show and promote the podcast. And just it seems like something worth being a part of here in the early stages, because it seems like he's putting together something really cool. And we don't seem to have a whole lot of interest from Tifosi. So if there's anybody out there that wants to team up with me for this thing, let me know.
Yeah, I just don't want to pay $25, I guess.
So you got to think of it like sponsorship, as a podcast sponsorship. Of course, then you have to race your way into the main event.
I already have 40 in the Pacific Major League, so.
Yeah, $25. If you convert that to Canadian, I'd almost have to win that purse just to make my money back. So
yeah, it's a good reason.
All right. Next up, a Road to Pro update. I thought it was interesting that KickingTheTires.net actually wrote a feature article about Top Split of the Road to Pro at Richmond. And they're covering it just like real racing, man. It's pretty cool that they're just covering a simple, official iRacing race. Well, I guess it's Road to Pro. But they talked about Mitchell DeJong was the winner. And he held at bay Alan Bowes, Femi Olat, and others to take the win. He said, quote, "I can't believe I won that race. It's insane," admitted DeJong. "Back before the Roval, I was actually racing this track in the ARCA car just to farm some iRating. I didn't realize it, but that helped me figure out the line. It makes testing so much easier. I was excited for this one because you can try to make a little more defense as a driver compared to Michigan, where it's full throttle." So pretty cool. KickingTheTires.net and Seth Eggert over there who wrote this article. Cool. Thanks, Seth.
Yeah, hopefully see more of this, the e-racing stuff spreading out into the everyday racing stuff.
Hey, racing's racing, man.
Yep, exactly. And speaking of racing, we have done a lot of it on iRacing. Steve Myers tweeted out yesterday, we have passed 3 billion laps.
Wow. Now, we just talked about that 2 weeks ago, and we were guessing when. I think Tony said July.
Yeah, well, that's the crazy thing is the acceleration of it. So by these numbers, so he did with the tweet, he tweeted out the numbers. So in 2008, when iRacing launched, 2014 is when they hit 1 billion, 2018 2 billion, 2020 3 billion. So by that math, next year should be 6 billion.
Yeah,
right?
it's going up exponentially. Yes.
Exactly. It looks like the old computer math when processors.
Now there's only 6 billion people in the world, so I don't know if that'll work.
Well, this is laps, not people.
Oh, laps. Okay.
Yeah, so just people. We just need the same people to be a lot more dedicated. All these new people come on. You got to practice a lot.
Every night, every day.
Yes, all day.
Yeah, pretty cool. And Greg West also put up a post in the forums about the moment. He said, "I came on this morning and we were short of the 3 billion mark by 200,000 laps. I came back after coffee, and boom, he's over the 3 billion mark."
Well, at least he shouldn't have to wait another 2 years.
But think about that. We did 200,000 laps the time it took Greg to do coffee. That's boggling. All right, and
it almost seems like I started saying, I've got a good transition. It almost sounds like they plowed right through the laps.
It's not smooth if you announce it.
Well, it's because Mike stepped on top of me, and but it's entertaining to it's a casual setting. Remember,
It's getting less smooth.
all right. Ray Alfala not happy with the fixed sets for B. He showed a picture of the tire results from a run that he did in 30 laps at Chicago. Right front was at 63, right rear was at 91. That's pretty tight. I would be not enjoying that level of tight on any set. It's one of the reasons I don't run fixed very often.
Well, it's saying something when you got your, your Coke champion out there starting a brand new thread called Plow.
Well, I mean, it's been no secret that the fixed setups are, extremely tight. That's something that's been since forever for me. So maybe with someone like Ray Alfala shining a light on it, they'll put a little bit more effort into those setups and make it a little bit more of an enjoyable experience running on the fixed side of things.
But maybe they almost need a collection of different skill level testers, like actually get some 2000 iRating guys to take it out and run it and see what happens, and then use the telemetry.
I honestly don't know how these setups are being produced. We used to know who actually created them. I don't know if we know that anymore.
Well, I would guess that maybe somebody gets in there and they say, okay, we're gonna get it a little close to a baseline, and we're gonna just make it really tight because then they're at least not going to spin out.
It's just too much, and they've gone too far with it. Even the 87 Cup car in the week 13, the Cup car was looser, and then when we went into this week, it was tighter, and it wasn't as fun as it was in week 13.
Well, here's something that we haven't heard about in a while. It would be the Ignite series. And so that question was posed. So, no Ignite? Someone asked that up in the forums, and Tyler Hudson came back and, he's blaming it on the pandemic. And, for obvious reasons. They haven't forgot about it, but it's kind of put on pause for now. They're hoping, near the end of the year, November, January-ish, to be able to do it again. But they got to be able to line things up because they have NASCAR's support with it. So it hasn't been forgotten, just on pause due to the pandemic and everything else going on. They want to be able to do it properly. So just got to wait a little bit, I guess, and hopefully things smooth out and get more things kind of back to normal-ish.
I think it's a good move. I mean, NASCAR's busy right now. I mean, they're doing two races a week kind of thing, and they just don't have the bandwidth to kind of support this, I think. And so trying to look at doing it off-season is a great idea, because then we can really support it correctly. We can maybe even get it broadcast. Who knows?
Yeah, it would definitely open up a lot more options, and hopefully by then, like I said before, everything kind of settles down a little bit, and to reiterate what you just said is to give it a good spotlight and let those young guys shine and do their thing.
Yeah, kind of along the same lines as that, Tony, of the young guys shining and do their thing. The pandemic has put a dampener on the earn a ride at Legends car at Charlotte that iRacing did, but we do have our winners. They're just waiting to figure out how they're going to put on the race with the pandemic going on. But the season 1 winners were Ryan Kuhn from New England, Alex McCollum from New Jersey, Blaze Crawford from Georgia, Ryan Duchette from New England, Logan Clampett from California. Season 2, Tyler Shadduck from California, Matt Cocker from Pennsylvania, Bart Hector Jr. from the Northwest region, Robbie Keneally from the West region, and Ellie Musgrave from the Northwest region. And these are still going on. So if you want to drive a real Legends car, like, don't let these guys be the only one doing it.
That boy Logan Clampett, he wins everything.
Yeah, he does. He's in every one of the contests they do. It seems like he doesn't mess around. So I said, don't let him have it all. Go give him a run for his
Yeah,
money.
somebody needs to get out there and take that from him. So, nothing against you, Logan, but we'd like to see
Yeah, we
some other
can't do
people.
it. We're just saying somebody should.
You're not calling him like a Jimmy Johnson of iRacing, are you? Everybody wants
he's
him to
trying,
stop winning
man.
now.
Okay, next up, a neat post. I'm kind of nostalgic, but somebody went looking in the database for the first official public race on iRacing.com. And they think they found it. They got a link to the results. It was held in May 31st of 2008 at 9 p.m. It was a Skip Barber's car at Summit Point. And the winner, Shannon Whitmore, who used to be an iRacing employee, actually. Darren Marsh was second. Brad Davies, who's the current Coke driver, third. Some other names I recognize down the list. John Gorlinski was in that race. He's also a Coke driver right now. Now, the other thing is when you look at the results, they all have iRating, and it's all different. And so the Shannon Whitmore had an iRating of 49.19, which was the highest in the group. And so you would think if it's the first official race that the iRating would be the same. Well, some people in the that have been around since the beginning in the thread indicated that iRating actually started being built when it was still in beta. And a lot of those people were in the beta and had built up their iRating before this first official one. Apparently, this is the race that took place after it became alpha. Or came out of beta.
Well, yeah, and then if you go further down into that discussion, they're not even sure if this one's the actual first official race, because someone was saying that at this time it was a broader amount of people on the service, but I think it was still mostly invites, so it was just right at the tail end of all the like alpha beta stages.
Pretty cool. I wish I was around for the beginning, but I wasn't. But there are a lot of people that were, and it's kind of neat to hear them talk about it. Next up, housekeeping notes. I want to mention, Tony, you and Chris doing full-fledged editing on the script, cleaning up, doing a great job. Thank you. It does take a team to run this podcast. I know I get a lot of the attention as the host, but I just gather content, and you guys organize it. So thank you. Don't forget to check those show notes. There's a lot of work that goes into those. It's at Adobe. We put it on Google Drive. There's a link to it in the description of every podcast. Don't forget we're at the Performance Motorsports Network. And with that, let's jump to hardware software. First up, the VRS Direct Force Pro DD wheel system review by our buddy Barry over there at Sim Racing Garage. He finally gets his full review in, and I think he likes it, was basically what I noticed, as far as conclusion.
Yeah, you watch any of the reviews, and not only does he walk you through assembling it, he pulls it apart and shows you what's good in the construction. He can find places where people take shortcuts. So it's one of the most valuable resources out there is his channel.
Yeah, and if you're in the market, I mean, this is a must-watch, just to see the product, and what you're buying and how it works and how you put it together and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the one I end up going with when I upgrade wheels. 'Cause I think it has I don't need the power and the price that the Fanatec has, but I want that direct drive fidelity, and so I think this is the way to go.
So it's $800 for the system. But if you get the hub adapter and motor mount, it's another 100. So it's basically 900 with everything you need. Now that's not a wheel.
I don't know how you guys drive with that direct drive stuff. That's my crappy Thrustmaster's wearing me out in those 87 cars.
I almost didn't make it through the Indy 500. I had it on 70%, and I don't believe that Mike is really running 100%. I think it's turned down somewhere else in the settings.
Must be.
Because I'm telling you, especially over those 500 miles, there was pain. I mean, cramps in the forearms.
It seems like that's the only place where that, from what I'm seeing, that seems to be the only place where that setup seems to be lacking from the Fanatec is the power. The Fanatec one has a lot more, but I don't know that I need that much more. That one, actually, the VRS, compared to my Thrustmaster, that one, just raw power, the VRS has about 5 times more power than what I currently have. So I think that'll be plenty. I don't know that I need twice as much of that with that DD1.
Right. Okay, so next up is the new VR. It's HP Reverb G2, $599. It's a Windows headset to get excited about, says The Verge.
And I actually checked this one out. Pretty neat. Basically, the summary of the article is that this guy thinks it has the best clarity, and it has to do with the glass that they're actually using.
Okay.
It's running the same resolution as their first Reverb, but they've improved basically the material of the glass to produce more clarity and even less screen door effect.
I can see that because I know you can probably kind of see in the Rift like how they've always had you don't get your eyes quite right in the lenses. You always get a little bit of a blur to them. I bet it has. You could tell there was room for improvement there.
Yeah, my takeaway on the articles, there's 2 of them. There's one from roadtovr.com and then theverge.com. And my takeaway was it's a nice upgrade from what the G2 was before, the Reverb was before. This new version, like you said, has the better materials as far as the glass. They basically have fine-tuned it into a better product. That was my takeaway. But, man, if I was looking at buying, this might be something you want to look at.
And also, Track Racer is doing some updating on their stuff as well. So their sim rigs have already pretty good for, I don't know, I guess being customizable, kind of making them, adjust them however you want to fit what your situation is. But now they have, what they've been missing is a proper keyboard tray that you could have on your lap, or same thing the keyboard tray or wheel mount that mounts on your lap, but you can swivel up out of the way so you can get out of your rig, and when you can mount it back down, it would still be a secure mount. And that's what most rigs that do this don't have. You might have that swivel, but it's wobbly, not secure. They say they fixed that. The video looks like they said fix that.
Well, just from the pictures they used on this, it looks like a really solid design. Definitely an upgrade to any 8020 rig, 100%. Like you said, a lot of them seem very wobbly and spinny.
Yeah, I don't know that. Yeah, it seems like they managed to do all the adjustability without having any of that play somehow so far. So I'm sure this is just as good.
Now, this isn't only for the Track Racer rigs. It's compatible with any 8mm T-slot extrusion rigs. So if you have 8020, you could get you the keyboard tray. Check them out. Okay, I'll take the next one. PT Actuator 5 DOF Motion System Review Part 2, the electronics and wiring. Yeah, this is another great video by Barry at Sim Racing Garage that that he put out in the last few weeks. But yeah, he really gets into it with the PT Actuator system. This thing is a beast. When you look at the end of the video where everything is like, up and running, and he's like kind of got it all wired, and man, it's a lot to it.
And can you hear me now?
Yeah, we lost you.
All right, got it fixed. And yeah, I gave this one a watch all the way through, really. And he had some final thoughts. Like I said, he always talks about the quality. He was impressed with the quality. The video gonna make it pretty easy to build. And one of the things that he was particularly impressed with was the cabling. All of the cabling has a lot of EMI shielding in it, so that you don't have signal problems as you're running all of those different signals and power throughout your rig.
I was just surprised, I guess, by the sheer amount of wiring. Why is there so much wiring? I just don't get it.
Well, it seems every actuator has a data cable, I guess, and a power cable, and it has, and all of those have to run from the controller. So,
I mean, when you look at the rig at the very end, a picture of the final, man, the thing is stacked away. I mean, he's got the slide thing on the bottom. He's got the D box above it. It's just the craziest motion system. Do you recall the price on this one? This one's crazy. I'm sure it's high.
Can we just call Denny Hamlin a price?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so the website is pt-actuator.com. And I jumped on there real quick to kind of look. The Mega Monster Actuator Kits. Yeah, no price. And you know what that means.
Cha-ching!
Okay.
Well, I think we may have a first here. Now, this is a sim racing company, but they are out of Slovakia. I don't believe we've covered one from that country yet.
Nope, that'll be new.
So this is at gperformance.eu, and they sell it all. It's all very high-end stuff, like SimiCube direct drive wheels, Huskenfeld pedals and shifters. You can buy a full PC there. They've got a couple of pre-built offerings, cockpits, everything.
Yeah, this hit my radar because people were looking for the Huskenfeld pedals, and they had them in stock. And I just checked, they don't anymore. But that's how it kind of hit my radar. But yeah, like you said, if you're looking for high-end sim equipment, which is kind of hard to find right now, you might check this source.
Yep, just another offering. For us, it's quite a ways away, but I know we got lots of listeners across the pond, and certainly a lot of sim racers across the pond. So this could be a great option for them.
Looks like next we have a question: 49 ultra wide or triple 32 monitors?
Chris,
What
this could
is the
actually help me. Please tell me what is the best.
Well, the poll is answered. You got 90 votes. 63% voted on the triples.
Yeah, and I mean, with nothing else to go by, that seems like a no-brainer, because you can't get proper field of view on a single monitor. And so right now, when Sam races, so she doesn't like VR, so we have to set up. We don't really have a properly sized monitor for this. They're all too small or too big. So we have like a 47-inch TV sitting probably 3 feet away from her face, and it's not a good field of view. Way too tall, not wide enough, and even with that 49-inch ultra wide, it's still not going to be wide enough. It's going to be too tall, not wide enough. You're going to want triples to get a decent field of view. But of course, that it's a lot easier to just set a 1 TB on a table. It's not a lot harder to do with 3 monitors. You're probably going to want a rig or at least a special stand. So I mean, there's other stuff to consider, but yeah,
that's
which
the
is
ticket
better.
right there, Chris. Is the triples are harder because you got to figure out how to put them in the right place.
and is way more demanding on hardware. So I mean, there is other stuff to consider, but
Right.
yeah, triples is definitely better.
Because
Well-
the one monitor, you just put it on your desk and you're done.
So the reason why I really want to know this is, I've talked on here and on the Aftermath that I'm, building a whole nother rig, another computer, whole nother setup for Lisa to race with. And this is the conundrum that I'm up against. I have, 3 decent options. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever seen a 49-inch in person. I have, and they're freaking huge, and they're not very tall, but they do have a lot of window space.
I think it's 119 FOV versus the 174 you'll get with triples,
That's
and that's
about right.
really the difference. Is you're going to get a not a bad FOV with a single, but it's not the same as a triple. You're not going to see turn your head to the left and right like I do and see out the side windows.
Right. So the issue that I have right now with my computer is I have triples. I actually have 4 monitors hooked up to my computer, and I'm kind of maxing it out. So when I stream my races and stuff like Bristol, that was terrible. I actually parked it and just shut her down because it was running so rough. So if I just have one monitor, say a 49-inch, I'm not going to get that field of view, but it won't be so taxing on my system. And then, the other option as well is VR, and I am considering that as well. So it's a real tough, what do you want to do, right? You got the 49-inch or the triples. I love my triples. I've got 27-inch triples. But with everything that I do, it's kind of taxing my system a little bit, and my computer's older, but it's still absolutely no slouch. So interesting.
It's a very personal decision, Tony, and you and Lisa are going to need to sit down and decide what kind of rig you want to adopt.
Well, you have 2 rigs, maybe you have one of each.
Well, yeah. So what my original thought was the new one that I'm going to build it with newer stuff, make it just a little beefier so I can run the triples without a lot of issue. And then the older computer, I was kind of thinking about the 49-inch, but here's the other caveat. Those damn things are, at least for me, they're over $1,000. Now, do I want to put $1,000 on top of, 1,200-1,500 I'm already going to put in the computer? I don't know.
What's your 4th monitor? Is that something you could do away with for a bit for the other rig? And is it big enough?
Well, my 4th monitor is a 32-inch, just cheap, $88 Walmart TV. Can I do away with it? No, I need it. I have to have it.
I need number 4.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. Transition. My bad. So we got a Instagram post up from SimCore, and they have a new, or the dashboard is now back in stock in black. So I guess they expect to see the rest of the colors soon, by the end of the month. And I don't have the link opened up, so I'm hoping this isn't a post from April. Now they say that this new batch does have a new feature. It has the option to put the USB cable connector to the bottom of the frame in order to be able to bring the screen as close possible to the dash. And you can select the position of the connector in a drop-down menu on the order page in our web shop, because I'm reading right from the script. Yeah, so new options, and very cool.
This is awesome. I don't know about the price, though. $275. And it's designed to show the Z1 dashboard software, which you have to pay monthly for as well. So it's kind of expensive. It would work great with my DD1. It literally mounts with the 2 top screws right on the top of the base, and it would literally be right behind the wheel. Now, I have a jerry-rigged kind of system that's similar to this, which consists of a mobile iPhone holder that's kind of wedged on top of the steering wheel base between the center monitor, and it's holding an old iPhone 5S. and it accomplishes basically the same idea for a much lesser price. But boy, if you're looking at something nice, this is a nice little addition to a DD1. And it comes in different colors too. They got some bright yellow, blue, and red, as well as this black and carbon fiber look. I like it.
It's pretty neat looking. I have the next one. It's a couple of guys head over to Essex in the UK and visit 21 Performance, and they have a Radical Sports Car SR3 simulator. And there's actually another more standard sim rig that you see towards the end of the video. But it looks like you're sitting in a Radical, and then it's got this huge panoramic single projection, I think, screen that goes all the way around, super wide, and it's motion. But you actually see the car itself with the chassis and the body of the tub bouncing whenever you hit curbs.
Yeah, we've talked about these guys before, but they got this new rig. Yeah, like you said, it looks like the Radical. It's pretty freaking awesome.
And then even the rig they show at the end of the video looks pretty standard, almost more like an 80/20. Partially, it's got some pieces that don't look 80/20 and some that do. But those are huge monitors.
Okay.
What size would you say they are?
I don't know. 42?
Yeah, they're up there. Looks nice if you got the money.
Okay, I got the next one. This is a company called acelith.com, ACELITH, and they have mods. It says, click on the name of your steering wheel to filter the results. And they have G27, G29, the G920, and so forth for Logitech. But they also got the T300, T300 RS, and so forth. So they have mods. So like if you pick G920, for example, you can click on their F1 style rim for the Logitech G920. And then when you look at it, man, what a wheel, man. It looks pretty awesome. What is that price? Is that 66 euros or is that 6,000 euros? I can't really tell.
I think they're like $70. It says that's what they start
$70.
at, so,
Okay.
yeah, that's what they start at. I don't know what they're made out of, but that's a decent starting price. I couldn't find any good stock car rims though. It's tons and tons of open wheel stuff.
Yeah, open wheel. Yep. And these are like, I think 3D printed, or maybe that's why they're cheap. But red and yellow, and you got some pretty good button placement and whatnot, paddles, the whole thing.
Well, I think what they're doing is they're using just the regular setup. When you can take the wheels off the G29s and stuff, and they're separate from those buttons. So this just kind of fits around the existing buttons, but just replaces the wheel itself.
So you just unbolt the actual wheel and put a new one on it.
Yeah, that's right. But still, for like 75 euros, that's an extremely reasonable price.
I don't know. At a glance, there are several different button configurations. They're not always in the exact same place. Some of them have the Xbox style or PlayStation style controller on the right, and some of them don't.
Well, that would go depending on whether you're at a G29 or G920, right?
Yeah, there's several different ones there to pick from. So,
and they are sold out of almost everything because of I guess they can't manufacture right now.
All right, let's keep moving.
Yeah, we have a Facebook post from Ernesto Frida's First Luso Motors, and he's got like an F1 style seat. It's where is it there? Yeah, the single shell seat for your rig. I don't know how else to explain it. It looks like a seat, like an F1 seat. Pretty clean.
It's like a mold or something, like a plastic molded.
Yeah. Sorry, that's right. I guess I could have said that would make a lot more sense. He doesn't have any pricing on these, so I guess you gotta contact him and stuff. And he's got more options coming in the future, like double shell and extra large sizing and stuff like that. But I mean, it's other than it's plastic, it looks exactly like what you would put into a real car. But I imagine it'd be a lot cheaper than.
Down in the comments, he does say pricing. He says the first simpler model is already available. The dual shell version will be available in a few weeks. Price for the first model is 246 euros. Top of the line version will be 369 euros.
David, you might better know this. So how does that compare to like a real style seat that would go in those things?
What was the price?
369 euro.
They range anywhere from, if you're talking about a bucket seat, they can range anywhere from $199 to $899.
There's no holes for belts, somebody pointed out. If you wanted to add belts, it would be a problem. And I also wonder how you mount it. How do you screw it down, to a rail or something? But yeah, check him out. All right, let's keep on moving. I'm gonna do. We're running out of time here, so I'm gonna go to the next one, the rig review. This one is Sim Racing Pros put up a Facebook post, and it said, "Finally, the projection," and it's 3 pictures, and I've never seen so much 80/20 in my life. I mean, this guy has got some 80/20. Now, the rig he's sitting on is tubular. It is an 80/20. The 80/20 is the projection system. So imagine this. He's got a tubular cockpit with a wheel and seat. Surrounding that is this very large 80/20 projection screen setup that's basically kind of the same style as triples, but it's a one continuous projection screen. And then there's 80/20 above his head where he has triple LCD projectors projecting onto those screens. And boy, quite a setup for the screens anyway. And like I said, I don't think I've ever seen so much 80/20 in one place.
This is a bit of a sight to behold, really. You got this, like you said, it's this huge, elaborate setup to hold his projectors, and then there's this little tiny rig right down at the bottom. Looks very much, out of place.
Minimalistic.
Yeah.
If that seat was detachable, it'd also make a decent movie theater.
It's just overboard, I think. But I mean, it's functional, I guess. I mean, he needed to get the projectors in a very certain spot, to be able to hit the screens just right. And with 80/20, you can pretty much build whatever you want.
Well, this could also be just like a work in progress too, right? Like, maybe a few months down the road, a few months to a year, we might see some really cool additions to this, because it looks like it's set up. Because it is so elaborate, it kind of looks like it's set up to do a lot more than what it's doing right now.
Well, that's the part of the fun part of this hobby, right? Like with your rigs, sometimes the things are going to get weird. Mr. Crocs.
Yeah, things do get weird. So
Well-
if that's what the case is here, I fully understand.
Triple projectors is a big project because you got to have some kind of device or software or hardware that will signal correctly amongst the 3 projectors, and then there can't be lag. And I used to be in commercial audio video, and this is no easy task, trust me.
Man, I just see that's what, like, this is just the beginning of the project. Like you said, he has a final vision, and it's going to be parking a monster truck where his rig is. Because he could do it with the size of the screens. Because you can make them pretty much, you can knock out some walls, make them as big as you want, man.
Okay, and with that, let's go to fantasy.
Well, we've had 2 races to collect points this week, and I tell you, a lot of movement going on. And, you know, with so much racing happening all at once, and especially with, you know, like back-to-back tracks and just with the season kind of being out of kilter, it's getting tough to, like, who do we choose? Who do we pick? Like, we got to hold back a little bit here because, boy, oh boy, like I said, you know, I've pounded this one. You only have so many guys. You can only use them so many times. So, it's making it really, really tough. I mean, you got so many short tracks in a row, and, you know, you got your short track guys and you want to be able to use them and take advantage, but there's also other tracks down the road that they're really good at too. So, you know, what do? Well, that's the fun of fantasy, I guess. So this week here, we had quite a bit of movement. A couple of new names bounced right into the top 10. Mike, congratulations.
Yep.
You got on the right app.
I figured out the right app, and I'm back.
Yeah, and boy, did you take the standings by storm. That was, you went from 16 and you're sitting up in 7th right now. Like, that was a huge jump. And another notable mention I want to give out is KBM 54. He was down in 15th, and he was able to creep himself just inside the top 10, sitting in 10th place. So, you know, with winners, there are some losers. A couple of people got the boot out of the top 10. So Impossible Girl, she dropped out. Ooh. And our teammate Stephen Llewellyn, I think he had about the biggest drop. He went from 5th all the way down to 15th. So I think he may have, you know, missed a race, if not both races. And unfortunately, that is
now who else
going to hurt,
because somebody was bragging big time this week about who was that?
That was Mr. Rochette.
Yeah, Tony climbed up.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, he's like 18th. I thought who's KBM anyway? Because I thought maybe that was Tony, and I scrolled down there. I was like, no, there's Tony. He's down there 18th.
Kyle is actually in our fantasy league. He's just keeping it secret.
Well, yeah, Mr. Roche, he was really slinging some mud at everybody. Like, oh yeah, look at me go! It was for the one race. Didn't you know? He made a little bit of a gain in the grand scheme of things, but it's the upward trajectory. I mean, I don't even think we're at the halfway point yet. So, lots of races to go, lots of points to be had. Quick rundown of the top 10. Just in time, he's still holding out strong in first place. GI Jojo 24 surpassed me, knocked me down a spot for second. I'm in third. Smiling Ninja jumped up a few spots into 4th place. Laird Racing's 5th. Chris, you're out of your tie. You're holding 6 all by yourself. Mike, congratulations on 7. T-Bob's 8. Carrie Seall is in 9th, and like we mentioned, KBM rounds out our top 10. Lots of fun this week, and don't forget to get your picks in for this Sunday.
That's right. I need to do an update, make sure I get on the right app. I'm doing both apps now to try to make sure I got this covered.
Well, that's always a safe bet. I'm not privy to the other app. That one I think is just for United States people only. So
it's something NASCAR was pushing, but you can apparently win money with it, and I'm trying to win money. So
yeah, and that's why it's not open to outside of the States, is because money's involved.
Okay, let's jump to results. Let's finish up Michigan Friday Open. David, P21. I think it was top split, and you said you were slow.
Yeah, I made an adjustment pre-race, just trying to make it a little better, and yeah, it was just slow. A couple, and at the end, I put too much tape on at the very end, and that cost me a couple of spots because I had to back off with the overheating on like a 5-lap run.
Okay, I got P15. I had actually a solid top 10 going until a former teammate actually ran out of talent and took out the entire pack, including me, but still was able to get 15th out of it. Tony Rochette, car got damaged from a door bang, nothing to write home about. And And then we'll jump to Sunday Open. David, you got the P9.
Yeah, I did a little bit better this time around. Top split again. I made some better adjustments. I went too tight the night before, or the 2 nights before, so I loosened it up like crazy. I got taken out early by somebody who took us 3 wide and couldn't hold his line. It took me out. But then I managed to stay on the lead lap, and I found something about the other damage model that I wasn't going to say anything about, but now that they've kind of cut it, it seemed like if you go ahead and go in and fix some of the damage, you lose a lot of the critical part of the damage, because once I fixed some of the damage, I was able to hang on to the back, and then after a few cautions, I got it all fixed and was back up towards the end and capitalized on some really bad carnage at the end.
All right. Get some I rating there. Go with it. And this week we move on to Sonoma. Man, not my favorite, but I got to get a start to get some points since we're running for points. And so Wednesday Open, I'll go first. I got P17. I actually was running top 10 for like 10 laps at the beginning before I kind of faded. But I was in trouble before this race started. I showed up a few minutes early. I was trying to get some laps in, and I was wrecking everywhere.
Wait a second. You showed up 10 minutes early. It's
Was
like
it 10
a record.
minutes? Well,
It's like
how
a
many
record.
laps is that? That's 3 laps at Sonoma. But anyway, I was in trouble, but somehow when the race started, I was able to keep it on the track and just go slow and get my way around there. And I'll take that P17 for Sonoma. I am one and done. And glad to have my points for the week and to move on. Greg Hectus was in my split. He got pole position by a lot. I mean, how fast was he, David? Do you remember? It was like 4/10
He had
more than everybody else.
Yeah, he had everybody cleared by at least half a second, I thought.
Yeah, half a second, I think, on the field. And so I was telling Greg right at the beginning, look, dude, you just need to gap them at the beginning so you're out of the trouble, away from them, and just take it easy. And that's what he did. And Greg got the win. Congratulations on the NIS win. He was confident, man. I mean, he woke up that morning saying, hey, I'm going to win today, guys. And he was right. And he called it, and he did it.
Well, Greg is our best driver on a road course in a stock car.
Yeah, I told him to keep going and farm it, man.
We scratch our heads because he's so much faster at Sonoma or Watkins Glen, but we go to Le Mans and jump in either the Ferrari or the Porsche LMP, and the roles flip. I guess I just had a lot more track time in those cars. And I did okay in my race as well. I got P14 top split, clean race. Most of the screwballs stayed home. And at Sonoma, everybody really is just doing their best to not mess up themselves. So you don't really have to fight with cautions or people who get a late race caution and think, oh, all right, now I can steal some positions.
Right. You just got to keep it on track. And then you ran earlier today, P8.
Mm-hmm. The strength, it was top split again, but there was only 2 splits, I think. Strength field was a little lower. I was actually car number 9 and got in an incident this time, actually. Somebody pushed me into somebody else. I survived it, got back on the track, and was able to climb back up to P8.
Okay. Other official, Tom Dreiling got a P12 and Road to Pro. I think the rest of us are pretty much done with that. Him and Phil Gary still running that, but Tom got a P12. He said, well, at least I know that too many penalties is a drive-through, and it works. That was the only positive from that one, he said.
Both he and I also ran at Le Mans this weekend in the Pacific Majors. He runs in the European division. He had a P12 in class. He ran the HPD. He could have had another spot, but he made a mistake and missed the start. Thought he basically he pulled a mic. He was late for the race.
There you go.
And I had my best finish ever in a league race, even though I won the Coke 600. That was second pro split, so second out of 4 splits. This time I made the top split, qualified. I was excited with how well I qualified because I qualified 4th, and I finished P2 overall. So that's my first top split podium in a really tough league. You know, running around guys like Christian Chandler. So I'm pretty excited on that one. I even got to be on TV. I got interviewed.
Very cool. All right, good job there. That's a pretty impressive run. I've been running official this week NASCAR Legends. I intend to run this for series points, and I got a win, and so I got another official win. I got a couple thirds this week, but I got a win last night, and boy, am I happy. I really feel like this car is the hardest car on the Oval Series on the service right now to win in. It is tough to drive, and to get out there and actually win the race, I'm really happy with that as a start. Looking at the points for Division 2, I'm 82nd in points with a win. So, boy, that's I got a lot.
Is that overall or Division 2?
It just says Division 2. Oh, if I click overall, I'm 227th in points.
You're talking about the Legends. Okay.
Yeah, the Legends. And so even with a win, I'm 227th overall.
Well, when I got that podium finish last week, when I finally got that first top 10 in top split, it was more points than any of my wins this year.
Yeah, you got to be in the higher splits to do well in points. But anyway, I got as much points as I'm going to get this week, so I'm real happy with that. It looks like there's over 3,500 people that participated so far this week in the NASCAR Legends. I encourage everybody to get out there and join us. It is fun. Now, the other race I ran was the Sprint Car Pavement official on Tuesday night. They gather on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern for a strength of field race, and there were 22 entries, and I think I finished 14th, but that car also is one of the hardest ones ever, and I really enjoyed running with those guys too. And with that, let's jump to final thoughts. Chris Scales.
I had something, I forgot. But maybe before you thank Tony Groves for doing such a good job on the script, maybe you should look it over for Whiny Sandhills next time.
Did I miss one?
Oh, no, you didn't miss them. No.
I think we actually did miss one. I think we skipped over one of the topics in hardware. But we'll catch it next time.
Okay. David Hall, final thoughts.
So, on top of all the other success, I'm having a good year. I hit a new milestone, and I've crossed the 4,000 iRating barrier.
Nice. Well, I always wondered if you had a wall there, but it looks like you broke through.
Well, Sonoma, the NIS races were a little bit tougher, a lot more competition, but I ran 3A Opens just getting ready and had a third, and second. So it was actually somewhat farmable.
Okay, very good. Tony Groves, final thought.
Don't have a whole lot of racing to talk about per se, not on my end anyways, but tomorrow night, I know my wife's racing in the Powder Puff race, and I'll be sitting on a spotter box, hopefully trying to help her out. And I know Chris is going to be spotting for his there, so really looking forward to that. That's going to be a great time. In fact, I know Lisa's itching to get on here to get one last round of practice in. She's really getting into this iRacing thing. She even texted me and told me not to take too long after we stop recording. She's told me not to no jibber jabber afterwards. So once we stop recording here, I'm gonna have to bail out real quick so I don't get my butt kicked, and she can get on there and get her practice in.
It sounds like you need to get that second rig going.
I was gonna say I haven't gotten word yet that I was gonna lose my rig tonight, but it kind of sounds that way.
Surprise!
Yeah.
You're on a need-to-know basis, okay?
Yeah.
So your Christmas present's going to be another rig.
Better be.
All right. Well, my final thoughts. Thanks to Taylor Burris coming by again and talking about Burning Rubber Radio and the Project K9 charity race that we're going to get involved with. I hope some of the Coke drivers help us out and come join us. and so forth to help us with raising money for those canines. What a great cause. My thoughts, man, I'm really enjoying the NASCAR Legends, like I said. To get a win at Daytona, without a restrictor plate, I'm not a restrictor plate guy. I'm just a Daytona guy, I guess. I guess you could say that now. But I had a couple thirds. I had a first. Real happy. I'm going to run that again tonight. I'm going to run it every night, at least for Daytona week. And looking forward to the short tracks and just see if I can stack up there as well. Probably not, but I'm going to stay positive and we'll see how it goes. And with that, we'll see you on the track later.
Thank you for listening to the iRacers Lounge podcast. Make sure to go subscribe to us on iTunes, SoundCloud, or Google Play, Facebook, and Twitter. See you on the track.
All right, clear.